Shout out Sniper T on the beat.
Tamara to the break of dawn is on the rise, with life on the forefront of the mind. So line for line, you can ride this brain train and you can change your station without even touching the dial. So relax, stay a little bit, but listen for a while. And whether you're bumping this in the whip or in a business fit, it's a meeting you won't want to miss. A meeting for a meal to feed the soul with words for the mind. So sit back, enjoy the ride. Time to take off, it's time to fly. Cause Tamara till the break of dawn is on the rise.
Hey, y'all. It's me, Tamara. Clap, 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 clap. Yes. Let's get into it. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in on time. You feel me? Because look at me on time with the episode. Like, what? Yes. So, to all my new listeners, new episodes drop every Thursday. Yes, every Thursday. Because we ain't late no more. You feel me? I usually talk about my life, my interests, and the ways I'm trying to grow. So come on back through. And for all of my day 1, 2, 73, 145, 168, whatever week you came in and were like, you know what? Yes, I am going to keep listening to Tamara talk about her life. Thank you so much. I appreciate not only your continued support, but like how y'all just, I be messing up on my words. I don't be editing that out because that's just who I am as a person. You feel me? And you really just ride my train of thought. So yes, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's see. This last week has been, there has been a lot that has happened. And there are some things that I will not quite talk about yet because I am really still processing how I feel about them, processing what they actually mean to me. But there is a lot of, it's just a season, of like a lot of change and a lot of change all at the same time. And if you're not new, you know that I struggle with change, even good change, right? Because change isn't always a bad thing. Change is just things are different. Not always, I'm not saying I can't be spontaneous because I can, but I can also be a creature of habit, get into a rhythm, this, that, and the other. And I feel like as I think back on the past couple years of not doing the whole traditional 9 to 5, I think that has been my biggest struggle, where I have continually been like, okay, I got to create a new rhythm. Which, side note, if y'all could hear Gizmo drinking his water in the background, I apologize. You know, he always got to do something whenever he see me hop on the mic. But anyways, yeah, so there's just been so much change. Like I said last week, me and my kids are like going our separate ways. And that is, like, I've already cried about that. Just because I have never in my adult life not lived with my kids. I have, now granted, my son has lived with his dad, so I've, not lived with him, but there's always been somebody there, and it's just really interesting because this is normal, right? Your kids grow up, they move out, they do their thing, they start families as Kayliana's getting so close to, my grandson being here and whatnot, and just so much change all at the same time. And yeah, I just have really just been trying to adjust to new, even like my new role in the creative team and just being around, basically being in like full-time ministry. That's different. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, I've been at this church 10 years and a lot of these people are people that have been a part of this church the whole time. So it's not necessarily like it's new people and it's people that I already have relationship, but it's just me being around y'all more, that's different. Not a bad thing at all. Again, change isn't always bad, but it's just, man, there has been a lot of change all at the same time. Or there are people on the creative team specifically like I haven't known them as well or as long, I guess is a better way to say that. But I'm like building deeper relationships with different people. And so that's different because it's to this point to where like people that maybe I didn't know a couple years ago or really didn't know well at all a year ago, they've become like such an important part of my life. And that's change, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's been a lot of change, a lot of adjustments, a lot of um processing how I feel about different things and people. And I'm not really going to go in depth too much on that aspect of things. But I will say, man, shout out to Gizmo. You know what I mean? Because it's just so funny how he became my dog right as Janae moved out. So I've officially been a dog mom over 6 months now, and he's only one. So, like, ideally he'll be around for several years, right? And it's been a good, like, me still having someone to care for has been good for me. And it just worked out perfectly. But let me talk about how I almost left this dude outside the other day, and whatever was going to happen was going to happen. Now, since then have wisened, I think that's a word, up on how we do things, but took him outside to use the restroom. And, you know, typically, unless I was like actually taking him for a walk, I would just clip the leash to his collar because we're not really doing all that. Well, you know, there's some dogs behind us, and I mean, they're behind a fence, but this man, like, he likes to go outside and sniff the air. He knows there's dogs around, so he likes to get their attention and this, that, and the other. And then once he does that, go run to the fence. Well, if he's on a leash, he can't go nowhere. Well, this man done figured out that because I cut his hair off, so really, well, actually, now he's in his harness, but because I cut his hair, the collar isn't as tight around his neck as it normally is. So if he just figured out how to pull out of the collar, and this man ran to go bark at the dogs and wouldn't come to me when I told him to come here, then ran somewhere else to go poop. So then I had to go over there with the little poop bag to clean up the poop because I don't leave poop. I mean, yeah, I don't do that. And then I'm like, come here, Gizmo, and he's not coming. No, I don't want you right now. Don't come over here. And then I'm like, all right, bye. Oh, that's when you want to come, because he's super clingy, which I also feel like that's low key petty, but whatever. It worked. We went in the house. And since then, now I take him out with the harness on because he can't get out of that. But like, who would have thought I had to take him out in a harness? But I have been giving him more freedom, like just kind of testing it out, you know what I mean? So like I said, at night, I typically don't zip closed his sleeping kennel, even though I did the day that he got out of the collar because he kind of made me mad that day. But other than that, I don't. And then sometimes when I leave a room, do you have to do that right now? I swear every time. And whatever. But I apologize, y'all, but you already know I'm not finna edit that out. This is my life and this is how we trying to grow. So hey. But you know, I've been, when I leave the room, maybe just leaving him let me see that. Gimme. Can you find something else to play with? But yeah, like just not putting him in the kennel and just letting him kind of be free in a room for a while. I don't know if we'll ever get to the point where he can just roam the house when I'm not home, because I don't know. We'll see. I may let him just be free in a room, and because like I know he's not gonna pee or poop in the house. That I'm not worried about that at all. But as he gets a little older and whatever, I'm just testing things out right now because we still trying to see what he finna be on. Let's see what else. One of the things we talked about, but it's really a lesson that I learned. Oh, y'all, what? I wish I had applause or something. Okay, so our church's worship team is doing a choir. Now the choir will start like for the first time perform on Christmas Eve. We do a Christmas Eve service every year, encounter, whatever. I mean, y'all know it as service. We call them out encounters, and you've probably heard me on here before, like correct myself on that, but church, right? We have Christmas Eve church. And so, they're going to be having a choir, and I mean, I like to sing. If anyone knows me, I like to sing karaoke, da 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 da. Now, would I be trying to be lead vocalist on the worship team? No, but I did audition for the choir, and it's so funny because the way I looked at it is it's like a low pressure thing because I'm going to be blending in with the rest of the choir. They'll have the lead vocalist. I'll be up there, whatever, whoopty woo. I love to worship the Lord and all that good stuff. So, though, when I, in my heart and soul, decided that I wanted to do this, originally I didn't know there was going to be an audition. I thought you just had to sign up for it. And then, no, I had to actually audition in front of people that actually have really great vocals. You know what I mean? And so it's interesting because in that situation, and then in taking over this new role that I'm doing as the project manager for the church's creative team, the person who used to do my role is still around, and she's basically like my supervisor because she's like director of all project management now. And so typically I'm not the type of person that compares myself to other people. Typically I'm the type of person that I'm like, and you've heard me either say this on here or in my company content, that my lane is my lane, your lane is your lane when it comes to whatever. I definitely have said that when it comes to there being so many podcasts and this, that, and the other, right? But I don't know. I don't know. Well, with the worship team choir audition, I can see to a degree why I kind of did it more so with that, because that's not something I typically do. Now, mind you, I did chorus when I was in school, and I even was a part of a church little mini choir in high school where we would perform in grocery stores around the holidays. But that was a long time ago, you know what I'm saying? And so I could somewhat see why I got caught up in comparison with that. The other piece, I don't really know, because I've taken over someone's role before and they moved up, and I didn't compare myself to them at all. So, but either way, what I learned and what I want to encourage y'all with before I get up out of here, because this episode ain't about to be too long, at least in my mind right now, but y'all know how I say that, and then it still be 20 minutes later I'm still talking, but I don't think that's going to be the case today. But what I want to encourage you with is do not compare yourself to other people at all, and here's why. And we kind of talked about this in the staff meeting for the church, where just how damaging comparison. I mean, I know you've heard the phrase comparison is the thief of joy, right? So when you're, and someone gave a whole bunch of great points on what comparison does, but what the Lord highlighted to me about what comparison did for me is comparison actually is very crippling that stops you from stepping into whatever it is that the Lord is inviting you into, or whatever you're trying to pursue, or whatever. And the reason why is in both those situations I mentioned, so we'll do the project management piece, I found myself not just diving in and doing what I felt like I should be doing because I saw the way the other person kind of navigated it. And I'm not saying, let me be clear, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the way that they navigated it. I just would navigate it differently. You know what I mean? And I was told that I have the freedom to do that. So it's not like anyone said, you have to do it this specific way. It's like, hey, this is the goal. If you like think there are different ways to do this or whatever, feel the freedom. So I was told that off top. Let's be clear about that. But for whatever reason, I just found myself comparing and then not doing anything, right? So there's that. And then with the choir audition, I spent, I don't know how many minutes, easily 5, probably more, having like almost this like, not anxiety attack, because it wasn't all like that, but just this, I'm an external processor. So like processing out loud, like, oh, well, you guys can like really sing and I don't even do this for real. And then when they had me like trying to do whatever, I had been like practicing because we had to like sing part of whatever song. I had been like practicing it all morning. Matter of fact, I know the song. I'm forgetting words. I'm like just all in my head because I'm comparing myself to these other people. And then though, once I got past that and just focused on what I'm supposed to be doing, and then it was better. And I mean, and I did make the choir. And ultimately, it wasn't even this high pressure audition. It was more so, let's see what key you sing in. Can you do at least like hold, I forget what language they use because I don't be knowing all that. I just be doing stuff. It's so funny. I live this life where, and it's actually really dope. I just even think about podcasting. I just dive into doing stuff that I either want to do or am invited into doing. And I don't even always fully know what I'm doing. I don't always know all the technical terms or whatever, even like with photography, but I'll just do it and then learn as I go. And so they were more so trying to see if we could, I think they might have said match pitch. I don't know, but whatever. I made the team, the choir or whatever. So we'll have rehearsals, and my first time I'll, I don't want to say performing because that's not what it is, but like doing it will be on Christmas Eve. But then the goal is not to only do it Christmas Eve. I don't know like how frequent they're going to do it starting next year, but that's cool. That's exciting. But it's that whole piece about comparison, how it really like hindered me from moving forward. And now that I've like, that's been highlighted to me by the Lord, and I'm like, okay, let me not do that because, and I love how, they talked about that at the staff meeting, because one of the things I want to, man, where's my notes? Let me see if I can, because I always take notes, not always, but a lot of times I will, just because it's almost like being in church. So one of the things that he said, and it might have been just something he said that I didn't write down, which that's kind of sad. Yeah. So I guess I didn't write it down. Let me see if I could try to remember it. He kind of said how basically like when we're comparing ourselves to other people, I'm going to super summarize what I think I remember him saying. So this ain't verbatim, y'all. But like we ultimately are not doing well what we should be doing. Like there's only one me. There's only one you. And and I've always said this like with podcast shows, this is where I've always been I don't listen to as many, really any shows now, but my rotation was all over the place. Like not everybody needs to talk about their life in the ways they're trying to grow. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying you can't, but you don't have to do that to be a podcaster. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of like, if you're so busy comparing yourself to how somebody else is doing it, like if I got caught up on that, like I think I'll use Jay for a good example, because she's shifted away and she's doing all kinds of stuff. But when she started, it was 3 topics that she was going to talk about. And it was like a format, right? My show is, it's always kind of been, I just talk, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, if I was getting caught up in, man, and I do like her show, like I was a fan of her show before we became friends, but like, if I just stayed caught up in, man, I should be doing this like her, or I should be doing this like Chris, who, will find these wild news stories that I don't know where she be finding them and talk about it. Like, I need to do that. If I was to be caught up in that, I wouldn't be being who I am being. And ultimately, I wouldn't be happy because I'm too busy trying to copy someone else. One quote he said, yeah, I did write this down. He said, don't let imitation become a limitation, because if you're too busy, imitating someone else, you get caught up in limitations because you're not going to feel, this is me adding on, he didn't say all this. But the way I receive that is, if you're imitating someone, you're going to have limitations on the freedom for you to do whatever. Like, one thing I've always done on this show is whatever I want, because it's my show. It's the only, well, it's not the only, but it's the freest creative space that I have, where I literally just do whatever I want. I've done karaoke battles. I've done movie reviews. I've done TV show recaps. I've done, jack of all trades, melon intoxication. Like, I've done whatever I've wanted to do with this show. I've had guests or not had guests. I remember one day I called all my friends and they were a part of the show via a phone call. Like, I've done all kinds of stuff because I've never tried to be like anybody else. Whether people listen or not, shout out to y'all that do. But even as numbers have been up and down and this, that, and the other and all over the place, it's always going to be about my life and the ways I'm trying to grow. You know what I mean? And so, like, yeah, if you get caught up in comparison, and that can apply to anything, it's like you really can limit what you really could be doing because you're too busy trying to be like someone else. So be you, you know what I'm saying? Because there is only one you, and only you can fill the void that you were created to fill. Like, I was created to fill a specific void, and that's in any atmosphere, any environment, any whatever that I'm in. I was created uniquely and specifically to do a specific thing and fill in a specific void, whatever that looks like in every season. The same is true about you, right? Like, we could be doing similar things or even the same thing, but it's not going to be the same because we are 2 different people. So, like, embrace that, you know what I'm saying? Because we need you. We don't need another me. We don't need another anyone else. You know what I'm saying? We need you. So that is my encouragement to y'all. And as always, in addition to that, make sure that you are taking care of yourself mentally. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself emotionally. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself spiritually and physically. Be healthy in your relationships. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Ladies and gents, this concludes transmission. Tune in next time for a whole new edition. Another adventure and mission to share, be heard, and clarify the vision of this whole new world for